King Solomon, blessed with wisdom beyond any king before him and cursed by the very power that made him great. By night, legend says Solomon commands forces beyond mortal men. His workers freeze, terrified by what their king controls. A shadowed giant kneels before him, bound by the ring on his hand. No one dares move as they face each other in silence. 6 workers stand frozen, each gripped by a different kind of fear. None dare speak or move as the darkness watches back. The power comes from a single ring, glowing faintly on his hand. Ancient texts claim it forced spirits to obey his every command. The shadow rises to a terrifying height, stones floating motionless in the air. Solomon holds his ground, refusing to look away. With a single closed fist, he forces it back down to its knees. The stones settle silently, and the workers slowly breathe again. Even as a boy, Solomon's sharp mind stuns his father's royal court. He corrects an elder judge's mistake in front of everyone. Years later, his charismatic older brother, Absalom, works the city gates. Quietly, he wins the people's hearts, turning them against their own king. Absalom's rebellion collapses in the forest when his own long hair snares him in an oak tree. His mule gallops on without him. When word of his death reaches King David, the old man collapses in agony. He tears at his own robes, weeping without restraint. Years later, another son, Adonijah, secretly declares himself king at a lavish feast. 50 runners parade before him, a bold display of ambition. A prophet and the queen mother rush to warn the dying king. Only quick action now, they insist, can save the throne. At the spring of Gihon, priests anoint young Solomon as king. The city erupts in celebration, certain their future is secured. Days later, David gives his son final counsel from his deathbed. Then he closes his eyes and passes peacefully, as if only sleeping. The tribal elders kneel one by one, pledging their loyalty to their new king. Solomon accepts each oath with quiet, steady confidence. At a sacred altar, God offers him anything he desires in a dream. Solomon asks only for wisdom to rule his people well. 2 women claim the same child, and Solomon must decide the truth. His unusual test reveals which one is the real mother instantly. Word of his wisdom spreads far beyond his borders, reaching distant kingdoms. Foreign delegations soon crowd his court, eager to witness it themselves. Solomon marries an Egyptian princess in a lavish royal feast. Some elders watch the foreign customs at court with quiet, growing unease. 12 district governors deliver enormous tribute in grain, oil, and cattle each year. His kingdom's wealth grows faster than anyone imagined possible. At the Red Sea, Israelite and Phoenician shipbuilders launch a trading fleet. Gold, ivory, and exotic treasures soon fill his growing treasury. Thousands of laborers haul massive cedar logs toward Jerusalem for his projects. Exhausted and resentful, some begin to quietly question the cost. To build his greatest project, the temple, legend says Solomon commands forces no mortal man could control. His own workers freeze in terror. A shadowed giant kneels before him, bound by a ring said to hold demons to his will. No one dares move. 6 terrified workers watch in complete silence, afraid to move or speak. None have ever seen their king wield such fearsome power. Ancient texts claim his ring forced spirits to carve stone and raise pillars no human hands alone could ever manage. For months, the massive stones of the unfinished temple seem to move as if alive, floating under some unseen command. Whether myth or historical truth, the legend cements Solomon's reputation as a king who commands forces far beyond this world. When the finished temple is dedicated, a thick cloud fills the sanctuary without warning. Priests fall to their knees in stunned reverence. Foreign envoys later stand speechless before his golden ivory throne. It is a symbol of wealth unmatched anywhere in the known world. The Queen of Sheba arrives in Jerusalem, dazzled by wealth she only knew through rumor. Her caravan carries gold, spices, and gems beyond anything Israel has seen. Before the whole court, she challenges him with her hardest riddles. Solomon answers each one instantly, leaving her speechless. That evening, Solomon walks with her alone through the palace gardens. Something unspoken passes between them, more intimate than any formal audience. At the gates, she departs with gifts beyond measure, and he returns the gesture in kind. Courtiers watch the caravan leave, already whispering rumors. Solomon's household grows crowded with wives and concubines from many foreign nations. Each brings her own customs, gods, and household into the palace walls. Among them, he grows fond of Naamah, an Ammonite princess. Their quiet moments together feel far warmer than any formal court appearance. Priests and elders whisper about the growing number of foreign wives at court. Some fear their influence more than any enemy beyond the borders. On the Mount of Olives, one wife builds a shrine to her own god. Solomon simply watches, saying nothing. Alone in the throne hall at night, Solomon watches the lamps flicker out one by one. The darkness feels heavier than ever before. Far to the south, an exiled prince named Hadad gathers armed men in the desert. He has waited decades to strike at Israel. In Damascus, a sharp rival named Rezin seizes the city and crowns himself king. He now openly challenges Solomon's power on the northern border. Word of these threats finally reaches the aging king in Jerusalem. For the first time, real fear crosses his face. Solomon notices a young overseer named Jeroboam working tirelessly on the city's defenses. Impressed, he places him in charge of forced labor crews. One day, Jeroboam watches an old laborer collapse under harsh treatment. Something shifts inside him, a quiet anger he cannot ignore. On a lonely road outside the city, a prophet named Ahijah stops him. Jeroboam senses something urgent in his piercing stare. Without warning, Ahijah tears his own cloak into 12 pieces. He presses 10 into Jeroboam's hands, a prophecy of a coming split. Informants rush to warn Solomon that Jeroboam is gaining dangerous popularity among the workers. They tell him of the prophet's shocking prophecy too. Furious, Solomon orders his guards to hunt Jeroboam down immediately. The order leaves no room for mercy, only the fear of losing everything. Jeroboam races through the night and crosses into Egypt just ahead of the guards. Pharaoh Shishak welcomes him as a useful future ally. Back home, exhausted laborers grow openly resentful of their endless burden. Overseers struggle to contain the mounting anger simmering beneath the surface. Advisors warn Solomon that discontent is spreading fast among his own people. He waves off their concerns, certain his power remains unshakable. Alone at night, the aging king sits writing in his private study. His weary eyes reveal a man questioning everything he once believed. Among old scrolls, Solomon finds writings from his own early years of wisdom. A bitter smile crosses his face at what he has become. At his final grand reception, the hall feels noticeably emptier now. Even his own throne seems to carry the weight of decline. In his final years, Solomon dictates the wisdom he gathered across his lifetime. Even as his power fades, his mind remains sharp. He tries to prepare his son Rehoboam to rule wisely. But the young man listens with obvious indifference, nothing like his father once was. Solomon's health finally begins to fail after decades on the throne. Physicians can offer little comfort as his strength quietly slips away. He passes peacefully in his sleep, at rest at last. His household gathers in stunned silence, mourning the end of an extraordinary reign. Jerusalem mourns as his body is carried through the city he built. Mourners from every corner of his kingdom fill the narrow streets. His son, Rehoboam, is crowned soon after, but the hall feels emptier now. Even the golden throne seems to sense what's coming. At Shechem, the northern tribes gather, led by the returned exile Jeroboam. They demand relief from decades of crushing forced labor. Rehoboam consults his father's old advisors, who urge him toward mercy. Then he turns to his own friends, who demand harsh defiance instead. Rehoboam chooses arrogance, answering the crowd with contempt and threats. Fury erupts instantly across the entire assembly. The mob turns violently on his tax collector, swallowing him from view. Rehoboam barely escapes, fleeing toward Jerusalem in sheer panic. He races home in terror, all his former confidence completely gone. The kingdom his father built is already slipping through his fingers. At Shechem, the 10 northern tribes crown Jeroboam their king. The United Kingdom Solomon spent a lifetime building splits apart forever. Furious, Rehoboam gathers an army to reclaim the northern tribes by force. Civil war seems only days away. A prophet intervenes, warning him this division is beyond his control. Reluctantly, Rehoboam disbands his army and accepts the fracture. Centuries later, Solomon is remembered less for his broken kingdom than for the wisdom he left behind, still read and quoted to this day.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more of history's darkest, greatest legends. Like this video and ring the bell for new episodes.